Hi, thanks for joining me again for lesson 3 in Sefer HaMitzvos. Um, and we're still working through the principles that Maimonides used to select the 613 commandments. If you missed the other three, you can see the previous lessons in the playlist on YouTube. And in order to see all of our live footage, remember to click live in YouTube. The way YouTube works now, rather than just putting everything in your videos, it will put any video that we post under videos and under live any of our live streams. So if you want to go back and watch any live streams that we've done for BI, that's where you'll find them. All right, jumping right in. Principle 4: we don't include encompassing directives in the count. All right. So what that means is that when there's a mitzvah that says you should keep all the commandments, we aren't going to count that as a command in itself. That's going to kind of be an all-encompassing umbrella uh, uh, command from Hashem to keep His commandments. We aren't going to count that in the list of 613. Principle 5: the reason for a mitzvah is not counted on its own. So if it says you should not do this and you should not do this, and the second thing that it says is really just explaining why you don't do the first thing that was commanded, that's all going to be the command. Not that second part that's just explaining the command is not going to be counted as a separate command. We'll run into some of those, I'm sure, as we work through. Principle 6: a mitzvah that has both a negative and a positive command are, surprisingly, maybe to you, going to count as two separate commands, a positive and a negative command. We're not going to count, for instance, if it says you should rest on the Sabbath and you should not work on the Sabbath. We're not going to count that as one positive commandment of, which do you pick? Do you count them both as you should rest and don't work? Or do you count them as a negative command, don't work and you should rest? We're going to split those two up and we're going to count them as two separate commands. And that has implications, and we're going to learn some more about that as we get into it. Principle 7: the different applications of a mitzvah are not counted individually. So, for instance, if there's the sin offering that's commanded, and one person might have one sin offering, and then the poor person has a different sin offering that they can give. The mitzvah is the sin offering, not the different applications for different people in different situations, etc. Principle 8: don't count a negative statement amongst the prohibitions. So there's going to be times when there are negative statements made in the Torah, but they're not actually a command. It's there's there's a negative statement in Numbers 17:5 says, "So he shall not be like Korach in his company." All right, don't be like Korach. Well, what does that mean? Like the Torah is really saying, hey, if you act like Korach, you're going to end up like Korach. Don't be like Korach. But it's not a mitzvah. It's something you should definitely listen to, remember, but it's not a mitzvah in itself that's going to be counted in the 613 commands. And finally, for today, principle 9: don't count the number of times a mitzvah shows up in the Torah as separate mitzvahs. So we're not going to say, keep the Sabbath. Oh, that shows up how many times? 12 times or something like that. It shows up a bunch of times in the Torah. And it doesn't mean that we're going to count each one of those as a separate mitzvah. However, there are mitzvahs that show up in the Torah that the sages have determined The reason why, in context, that it's showing up again is not simply to restate the same mitzvah, it's to teach us something new. It's actually a different command that it's teaching us. And so those are actually going, there are going to be some exceptions where we are, the same statement might be made multiple times, but the context and the tradition of the sages is that that's actually teaching us a new command. And we'll see those as we work through. All right, that's it for today. Please continue watching. Tomorrow, God willing, around this same time, I'll be doing another class. And please feel free to interact with me in the comments, and um, you can also share the class with others, so that they can also learn with us. All right, thank you so much. Shkoyach. Have a great day, and as my friend Yisrael used to say, have a great day in every way.